I'm George Snelling. I work with the Union team. Welcome, everybody. This is the Flyte Community Sync. We do this every 2 weeks. At this time, 9 a.m. Pacific on second Tuesday or the first and third Tuesday of each month. And I'm going to get rolling. We have some news, just a community update, who's been joining the community and what they've been up to. Samita, I'm hoping you're going to talk to that. We have an Oktoberfest and community highlights. There are some community initiatives we want to go through about what other folks in the community are contributing to the project. We have a little time from Kathan, I think, who's going to talk about what the sort of core team is working on in the next release or two, and then we have a demo from Niels at the end. Samita, are you ready to talk about Oktoberfest?
Sure. Yep.
Cool.
So the Oktoberfest went really well, thanks to all the contributors here. I'm not sure if everyone is on the call, but then, yeah, thank you, everyone. So here are the top 5 contributions we have from Chunju Chang, Martin Lyra, Kuven Yu, Avnish Yambadi, and Sonakshi Mishra. And we also have the other contributors as well. Thank you, Yuvraj, for filing the most number of issues and helping us out with Oktoberfest. We also are going to have Oktoberfest the next year, so we are expecting a lot more contributions from your end. Yeah, pretty much it.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, there you go. Top contributors. Frederick, Tim, Anton, Tatiana, and Andriano. Appreciate that. It's nice to see
Maybe
you.
I can step in over here. I'm here on the phone. Sorry, guys. I'm a little locked out. But so Frederick and Tim recently started contributing from Volt, and they have been doing a fantastic job. Awesome. Thank you. Continue on, please. Anton and Tatiana from Intel, again, fantastic stuff. They added the Modin plugin and helping a lot with schema. And Adriano from Flyte.ai, the security stuff that he's been helping with, and I've heard that they're gonna upstream a bunch of other changes. So looking forward to that. Yeah, so I think we have not counted this as part of Oktoberfest because we didn't label these as Oktoberfest issues, but they are as important, or if not more important. So thank you so much. Next, maybe, George. So yeah, so what we basically have done is for Oktoberfest, we had a blog, and all the top contributors should be getting some mugs, t-shirts, various vouchers based on contribution levels. And we liked it so much, and we saw that most folks were, the amount of participation was overwhelming, and we really love it. So we are going to continue with the giveaway going forward. We probably and we want to formalize the process, so that's what we'll be doing. But as we decide on a couple of things, we should see a post or so coming out. But for all contributors, we want to start having a swag giveaway, and that way, we know you should know when you're joining the meeting next, you can show your swag off. So thank you. Another thing is we are we have been doing a lot of conference talks and so on through the Union.ai team, and we encourage everybody else to definitely do more conference talks. If there are slide decks or some sort of themes or something you would like, we actually made a theme for Flyte, and we would love to share that with you. So please let us know. On that note, though, on November 16th through 18th is ODSC West. And as part of Flyte, what we're doing is we're doing a deep dive 3.5-hour tutorial session on the Tuesday, November 16th at 9:30 a.m. And that's in San Francisco. So Hatham and I will be there doing the session, and we, if you go to the next slide, on November 15th, we've actually would love to get most of the folks, or whoever are at least in San Francisco or happen to be there during that period. Would love to meet them. Please join us. You can meet Hatham, Sean, and myself. And there's an RSVP form here, and I think somebody shared that link. So please join in, and that would be wonderful.
Yep. So it's in person, not virtual, real life people in the flesh. If anybody's going to be in San Francisco on the 15th, be sure to get together with the crew. Core team insights.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute. I'm just switching over to my laptop immediately.
Sure.
About the modem plugin. Pandera is going to support modem schemas next release also. So happy coincidence.
Perfect.
I guess I'll just continue here. So what we wanted to do was, going forward, we were thinking put a little more structure around this meeting and essentially provide a set of highlights of an upcoming release as well as roadmap for the next release, and we'll expand that to actually include a roadmap to the next major release, or at least the next minor release. And if you've seen the RFC, we are trying to come up with a different versioning system for every month. Instead of releasing a new minor, we are going to release a patch version, and every 3 months we will release a minor. And we'll have a code name associated with the minor so that it becomes easier to remember. And what we're trying to do is around March end next year. Again, this is tentative, maybe slightly might change a little bit, but we plan to release version 1.0.0. Again, this is a semantic version. There's no breaking changes planned for it for anybody except for some legacy stuff that we had at Lyft. But other than that, there is no breaking changes. What it really means is that the API will continue to be stable, and we have kind of solidified the API. But usually when you do this major version update, people feel that we are going to break folks. That's not the case here. We are just wanting to signify that we are a stable platform. We have actually met our reliability goals, and that's what we will be signaling with that 1.0 release. And a couple things in there are, having reliable testing, automated, end-to-end testing, and so on. And we'll talk about it in a little bit. So as part of this, we are going to release the 0.18.1 version this week. Hopefully other folks within the community can also start helping us with the release process. But at the moment, the Union team is more than happy to carry it on. And some of the major features which have been highly requested by some folks. I think one of the biggest things, and we hear you loud and clear, documentation needs updates, and we keep on working on them. So more coming soon, or already in some cases. And another major updates have been in the Flyte world, where now you can use any arbitrary Python type between tasks. And when Flyte does not have a registered transformer for that type, instead of returning an error, it'll provide a warning, but use pickle as a transform. Now, pickle should be used with its own caveats. It's definitely possible to work with it in 99% of cases because of Flyte's isolated model, but it's still possible to use arbitrary tasks within Flyte. And so pickle is Python only, and also very version specific and environment specific. But if for 99% of use cases, it should just work. Along with that, of course, Modin plugin, the MPI plugin that we've been working on for a while, which includes Harvard, support for decorators, which is what Niels is going to talk about in his demo. We've also launched official support for Python 3.9. So now it's available across 3.7, 3.8, 3.9. There were some performance improvements for dynamic workflows, and Flyte Remote has been a major area where we are improving many things. And I think there have been some enhancements, but more coming down in the month of November. There was a huge performance upgrade in the backend for Flyte Propeller. This is for workflows that have a large fan out. So the cases in which folks launch thousands of parallel nodes and not using map tasks. So we recommend using map tasks whenever you're running a large number of tasks in parallel. But if that's not possible, there are cases in which it's not possible. So you can use like just arbitrary DAG structure where the fan out is very high. And this represents the poison pill for Flyte, where if the fan out goes extremely large, the performance gets impacted. But we've actually made it, and we've been testing with about 5,000 to 10,000 fan out nodes, and we are pretty not extremely happy, but we are happy with our performance goals at the moment. But we'll be improving it further. Please try it out. Let us know. We know some users have been trying with like 100,000 odd nodes, and so we'd love to hear what you see. Flyte Console has been, I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but Flyte Console has been going through quite a few changes. A few of them include bar chart improvements. So if you go to the versions page or any of the executions page, you'll see bar charts. Now that bar chart is interactable, it's actually a visual filter so that you can filter down the list very quickly. Also, a major requested item was workflow and task versions. And in case of extremely large executions, you can use pagination. We also have a backend plugin for MPI operators and a bunch of security fixes. Thank you for the work by Walt on that. Next slide. So with that, we also are embarking on 0.18.2, slated for end of November. A lot of work again on FlyteKit, basically a cookie cutter. So we're working on a cookie cutter integration so that you can just say FlyteKit or PyFlyte in it, and you should be able to initialize some of the basic things required by Flyte. We are also working on data class support for complex types, so you can nest Flyte files, Flyte schemas inside a data class, and Flyte will handle them seamlessly. It's essentially mostly the work on FlyteKit side. We are actually working on a major overhaul on the schema. That being said, again, in a non-breaking way, it might make you update your code a little bit. Not the code, I mean, just upgrade the library, but we are making sure that we won't break you unless absolutely necessary. But the schema updates are so that we can support multi-dimensional schemas like tensors and so on, as well as multiple formats underneath, including like arrow, feather, or parquet, or other interesting row-wise formats. And we are also working on some type system updates, and Flyte Remote remains our focus. On the console side, we are working on support for dynamic workflow graphs and map tasks. Today, you cannot really visualize them in the graph view. And probably somebody actually filed a bug this week that when you click sometimes on the dynamic node, it breaks the graph. We are working on that fix as well. This was also a request from some of the users that having a GraphQL endpoint for doing the N+1 type of queries. And we also know that this happens for visualization. And so we are working on GraphQL server POC. We should have more on that probably in 4 weeks from now. And many more improvements to the visual filters. So a big feature in the backend that we're working on is Flyte Propeller sharding. So it's in review at the moment. I hope you guys had seen the RFC. If not, please definitely take a look. But once you see the RFC, the code is coming hopefully it gets checked in this week. And that allows you to scale out Flyte Propeller by multiple different sharding strategies. So you can say one per namespace, or you can say just arbitrary round robin sharding. And this gives you higher throughput potentially because you get multiple Kubernetes API clients. And we'll be benchmarking all of this and letting you guys know. Also, Kate's array job actually supports queuing, and this queuing is done through Redis resource manager. We just don't have documentation on that. We're working on that, and we're sharing more information on it. On the platform side, we're working on intra-task checkpointing, essentially useful for getting machine learning workloads like checkpointed so that you can recover in a retry and restart from a point that you previously saved. This is besides using workflow as an actual checkpoint, because workflow is more heavyweight. This is more lightweight, where an individual task can checkpoint itself partially. We're working on logical types and custom, complex type custom caching. And this is a case in which you may want to cache or change the cache key for certain types. Like, let's take an example of pandas data frame. Flyte really does not know how to hash the pandas data frame, but users probably can provide a better method. And one of the biggest things that we are working on for the 18.2 is stability initiative. Actually, we've been working for it for the last 2 months. We will be unveiling it this month, and that is a full functional testing environment and it's a joint effort across Union, Lyft, Spotify, and a couple other places. And what we're going to do is essentially, this becomes the de facto source of the release artifacts that you should be using. Our aim is to have one single page where you can go and check the matrix of all versions that are working successfully, all the plugins, and across which cloud platforms. So you should get a matrix for AWS, another for GCP, another for on-prem, and so on. That's the eventual goal. And the intention over here is that the users can basically reliably use a version as a stable workaround, and if they are interested, they can go to the bleeding edge as and when they see fit. All right, next slide. And last one, the plan is that we are planning version 19 in the new release cadence, so 0.19.0 to the end of December. It's a New Year's release. And then version 1.0.0 at the end of March. Again, just to remind, this does not mean we are going to break people. This just means we are making sure that we can delete some legacy artifacts from our across our repos, which actually makes the code even cleaner and the software a little more maintainable. This also gives us a chance to optimize some things underneath. And next slide. From community work point of view, so the community has been hard at work. Thank you, Woven Planet, and an unnamed community partner who are working on Bazel rules for Flyte. Lyft is working on multi-architecture support, so you can have tasks that run on ARM as well as x86. This has a huge cost implication, and so we are extremely excited to partner with Lyft on that. Spotify is working on BigQuery and Flink plugins. BigQuery backend plugins already in. Flink plugin is open source under Spotify, so you guys can please check it out. Over there, you can always use that. But the Python plugins are coming soon, or should be in this week or so. Spotify is also working on Java SDK and working on upstreaming some of the operational dashboards. Volt has been working on upstreaming their work on Vault integration, and I'm extremely excited about this because some things just work when people use them in real world, and Volt has been helping us write this. So thank you, Tim and Frederick and Stephen. Applied AI is working on integration with ClearML, and this is what caused the work that Neat will be demoing today. Latch is actually working on upstreaming union and optional types support within Flyte. And Spotify, Intel, and Union are helping us with the schema system.